This guy wasn't your average appraiser who just looks at things and tells you what they're worth. Nope, he could make himself and his buddies invisible, scan an entire area in a heartbeat, and even unmask the person behind a forged document. He can also identify individuals who possess S-rank abilities. His skills were way beyond human limits, so it was only natural that he was chosen to form his own elite squad. I could spill all the details about what else he can do, but before I spoil too much of the fun, let's start the story. Inside a factory, Arudo, our MC, was appraising piles of ore with different ranks. 5 more left before he finishes, when an ugly pig named Anmariza went inside shouting to appraise another 1,000 ores and that he needs to finish it by tomorrow. The war with the Grouse Empire is near, so they will need plenty of weapons. When Anmariza left, Arudo shouted in frustration. He can still appraise, but his body is at its limit. Still, he never wants to go without pay and food again. This is his job after all. A voice from a shadow rang out, advising him to stop. If he keeps pushing using magic, he will die. The boy has no idea who this guy is or when he came. Since it's too dark, he plans on appraising him. The hooded man recognized his ability and invited him to join the Grouse Empire. Arudo was shocked to hear that because it's their enemy's nation. He bumped his foot against a crate, and as he massaged his foot, he looked at the guard who was sleeping and appraised the hooded man. He was sweating as he read the info, learning that this man was a military officer from the Grouse Empire. The hooded man warned him that shouting was useless since the guard was drunk and passed out. He advises the boy to assess the situation and choose his target more carefully if he plans to use magic. Oh crap, he noticed that? No one's ever noticed Arudo using appraisal before. He quickly bowed his head, explaining that he was just curious and appraising was his habit. The man was surprised to learn he could also appraise people, which made him more interested in this boy. He promised to give him a normal life and possibly to become a noble in their country if he came. Slowly standing, Arudo understood that it was a recruitment and didn't want to believe in his promises. Well, it was his choice. If he is satisfied with this life, fine. He was just offering him a chance and didn't come just to sweet-talk him. Their Grouse Empire values strength. Birth and status don't matter. Skill brings advancement. Arudo deserved far more recognition for handling this absurd workload. In their nation, he would be valued. He turns around and lets the kid know that he will be waiting at the south gate at midnight. Before he left, he tossed him a simple gift to use as a basis for his judgment. The thing suddenly created a blinding light that showed an image. After hearing Anmariza's voice, Arudo looked at it, wondering if it wasn't recorded footage. Anmariza was speaking with a high noble who explained that since they made the commoner Arudo an appraiser, profits had soared. He wants to see how long Arudo will last, but Anmariza suggested they squeeze as much out of that commoner before letting him die. The high noble agreed, praising Anmariza's capability. With tears running down his face, Arudo clenched his teeth, questioning if he was supposed to keep working under scum like these while risking his life. In this country, commoner children with dead parents end up living on the streets. Arudo was singled out, lured with food and money, and dragged off and forced into labor. Those who ran were caught and tortured. Thanks to his aptitude for appraisal, he survived. He only ever wanted a normal life, but never had the power or choices. Recalling the hooded man's offer, Arudo decided to take this chance. When midnight came, Arudo went to the south gate to find the man. He was about to use the appraisal ability to find him faster when he heard a rustling sound from a tree. He walked near it and apologized for keeping the man waiting. The man told him he was right on time and then jumped to the ground. He removed the hood and introduced himself, Ars Bellart. He was glad the boy came and suggested talking as they walked away from the city. Ars Bellart learned from the boy that he can even locate people using his appraisal and inquire about what he sees when he appraises someone. Arudo could see their name, role, abilities, acquired skills, and innate talents. As for Major Ars Bellart, his talent score is higher in archery than in swordsmanship. Bellart wonders if he should study archery instead of swordplay, but Arudo clarifies that he doesn't need to do that because effort matters more than talent. He was fine as he is. If he is starting from zero, it just guides him to what might be easier. Bellart asks if he chose the appraisal. Well, Arudo actually can't appraise himself and just happened to have this talent. Upon arriving at the midpoint, Bellart handed the kid a letter of introduction. He will be guided from here to the Grouse Empire. Once he arrives, he must head to the address listed in the note. Arudo understood him and was thankful he accepted someone like him who could only appraise. He only has bitter memories of this kingdom, but he got one good memory at the end. Bellart shakes the kid's hand, informing him that he has the ability. It was only his environment that held him back. When the boy left, Bellart put back the hood, stating he had high hopes with Arudo, a person who may stand by Her Majesty's side. 10 days later, when they reached the border of the Grouse Empire, the coachman woke Arudo up. The boy suddenly got up, mumbling that it's time to work. The coachman wondered what he was talking about and told him to look at the imperial capital. Arudo stood up, amazed at the beautiful construction of the Grouse Empire imperial capital, Calisolm. The carriage continued moving until they reached the gate and entered the city. Arudo got off the carriage and waved goodbye. He started to walk until he reached the place Major Bellart mentioned, the Imperial Military Base. He approached one of the guards and told him he was referred by Major Bellart. Kijin, a private, observed his appearance and doubted what he said. Arudo Arudo handed him the introduction letter. Kijin looked at it before throwing it to the ground, shouting that Major Ballart wouldn't give a scrawny like Arudo a referral. As a luxury carriage stop, Arudo picked up the letter and told the private it was true. The door of the carriage opened, and when the man got off from it, Kijin respectfully saluted Major Rudolph. The major asked if he was Arudo and told the private that he had received a report from Major Ballart. He then ordered Kijin to return to his duties and that he would handle the rest. Rudolph was pleased to meet our boy and offer to show him around the base. After changing clothes, Rudolph informed Arudo that he had gone to meet him, but they missed each other. He then opened Ballart's introduction letter and read it. Arudo appraised over 800 things daily and could also appraise humans. They must give Arudo subordinates whom he can train from zero. Rudolph, smirk, interested. Looks like Arudo has a unique ability. He will be enlisted as a candidate officer, and if he achieves results in missions, he will be promoted. His first mission was to utilize appraisal magic to educate his own subordinates, thereby strengthening their forces. From the children in their protective facilities senior group, he must pick one and train them into a capable talent. A month from now, there will be an entrance exam for the military academy, and Arudo's job is to ensure his chosen trainee passes. Since Arudo could appraise people, Rudolph told him to select a subordinate. Arudo looked at the window and started appraising the 7 people. Seeing how intensely focused he was, Rudolph couldn't wait for the result. The people Arudo appraised were Ralph, who has a close combat skill rank C, Lurist with speed enhancement rank C, Karina with archery skill rank B, Gelbin with spear technique rank A, Goltars with close range magic rank A, and Shara with wide area magic rank A. All of them were promising, but one of them stood out. It was the girl named Sarah who possessed swordsmanship skills, rank S. If he chooses the best, it will be her. He then told Rudolph that the red-haired Sarah looks talented. Rudolph was impressed by his ability and elaborated that Sarah was a genius since the facility began. Arudo already expected it, and since training someone already brilliant won't reflect him, he won't choose her. He looked out the window and saw a frail girl running around the track field, being scolded by an instructor. The teacher told Lily to hurry up because, at this rate, she would repeat the year. Gelbin commented on how slow she is and inquired why a no talent entered this facility. The other guy responded that it was because she is an idiot. Arudo smiled, asking the major about what he said earlier. He inquired whether what he meant by training someone applied not only to physical ability. Rudolph agrees, as long as they're useful to the army. The major asks if he has already found someone. Arudo looks at the exhausted Lily and answers, yes. A short while later, the two went down to face the students, who were now lined up under the instructor's command. They notice Arudo's badge and recognize that he was a candidate officer. But doesn't he look weak? As the instructor told them to be quiet, Arudo observed that they were staring at him. Major Rudolph advised him to walk with confidence before apologizing to the student for interrupting their training. He informs the kids that one of them will be chosen as an assistant to candidate officer Arudo. While the student was hoping to be picked, the instructor was certain Sarah would be chosen. When Rudolph gave the go signal, Arudo pointed his hand in a certain direction. They all turned their heads and were shocked after hearing that he had chosen Lily. Lily pointed her finger at her face, wondering if she was really chosen. After that, they dismissed the candidates except for Lily. The candidates didn't get it, asking why her. As the instructor commanded them to do 2 more sets of sprints, the girl named Marlia voiced out her concern, asking why Lily was the one who got chosen. She can't accept it because Lily was a failure. The instructor panicked in her action and clarified that it was an order and no objection was allowed. Arudo stepped down, telling the instructor it was fine. Since she wanted to know the real reason, Arudo revealed Lily wasn't a failure. She has potential, and it's just that she doesn't fit the current environment. Noticing Marlia wasn't convinced, Rudolph suggested having a mock battle between Lily and Maria after a week. He will allow the appeal depending on the result. He asks if there is any objection. Marlia was glad to hear the offer and thanked the major for the opportunity, promising that she would win. Rudolph was looking forward to the result and was counting on Arudo. Officer candidate Arudo and training candidate Lily introduced themselves to each other. When Arudo asked permission to appraise her in detail, she was shocked to learn he could also appraise people. Well, he was an appraiser, didn't he? Lily was amazed, already expecting it from an executive officer. Arudo proceeded to appraise her by strongly narrowing the magic power with the image of seeing all of her. Her stamina, magic power, strength, spell, defense, agility, and evasion are ranked E and F, except for luck, which is ranked D. He realizes training focus on physical strength and combat must be painful for her, but the reason he chose her was because of her support magic, which is S rank. He wrote her status in a notepad and handed it to her. While Lily trembled to learn she had a magical talent, Arudo told her that if she tried tried, she could truly become strong. They will start practicing magic, but before that, he wants to gather information and ask for the library. They entered a classroom filled with books, and as he browsed through them, he wondered if the topic of cooking was relevant to the military. He looks out the window and sees the intense training of candidates. He could see that it was really like a meritocracy, and then turned to Lily, who was having a hard time lifting a crate of books. Just look at her. It seems like she was getting to poop at any moment. Anyway, he decided to rise not just for himself, but also for this girl. He has to help her develop her talent. Arudo tells her to stop because he can find it himself. Lily tried to argue, but Arudo informed her he was good at this. He activated his appraisal ability to search for the book he was looking for, and after marking it, he pointed out where she could get it. Lily went to a crate and was amazed that there really was an introductory book. She wondered if appraisal magic could also find things. As Lily read the book, Arudo understood that support magic not only can strengthen their allies, but can also weaken their enemies. Buff and debuff for short. He inquired if there was any magic she wanted to try. Lily was interested in powering up and speeding up, so they decided to practice it. A few hours later, Arudo suggested doing it one more time. She should try narrowing her magic power and spreading it throughout her body. Lily followed his instruction by activating the power up. Arudo looks at her status with a smile. If she can learn various support spells, it will certainly be useful in mock battles and also when she goes on a mission in the future. Lily asks how it is, and he answers that it was a success. She gained +2 strength. She pointed to the crate she had been trying to lift before, suggesting that she try it. She agreed and used all her strength to move it, and it worked. That was amazing. It didn't budge a moment ago. Arudo tells her it was the result of her hard work, but Lily insists it was thanks to him. She was motivated to try harder, but Arudo told her she used more than half of her magic power. He was surprised by her stats increase and concluded that 1 magic point recovers in about 3 minutes. Since one activation consumes 20 magic points, and she only had 39 magic points, continuous use was impossible at the moment. Lily asked where he was looking. Arudo responded that he was looking at the appraisal result, but seeing her confused, he explained that only he can see them. He then appraises her magic, but this time with the image of touching her magic power, not Lily herself. When it was done, he discovered that with normal power up, strength 5 would only increase by +0.25 or 5%, but with aptitude correction, it became +2. This is S rank. A girl enters the room informing Lily that today's training is over. Additionally, Sanzai informed her that Lily must visit Major Rudolph's room. Lily responded that she understood, and then approached Arudo, telling him she would go first. After that repetitive practice, Lily's magic power limit increased, but it turned out that the effects of support magic do not overlap. To defeat training candidate Marlia, Lily needs to raise her level and enhance the effects. Inside Major Rudolph's office, Rudolph asks Sanzai what he thinks of Aruto, the executive candidate. Sanzai's first impression of him is that he seems unreliable, but his amount of magic was abnormal. She asks who Aruto exactly is, and he responds that he is a gift from a colleague. When he revealed Aruto could appraise more than 800 a day, Sanzai couldn't believe it. Rudolph showed her a note. It was the people Arudo had appraised earlier. Their names and specialties were listed, which means he could also appraise people. Since they believed appraisal cannot be used on moving objects, it meant Arudo was overturning the common sense of appraisal magic. He asks if Sanzai wasn't curious about what such a person would do. After Lily reported her training with Arudo, Rudolph deduced that Arudo was still unaware of his own uniqueness. He cannot go into details, but there is a reason for Arudo's unfamiliarity with social conventions. In the future, whether they decide to conceal Arudo's abilities or openly reveal them, Arudo's concern will remain necessary. That is why Rudolph would like Lily to become Arudo's direct subordinate and help him realize the unique nature of his powers. Of course, this is not an order, so he asks about her opinion. Lily felt honored and accepted the mission. To her excitement, she didn't notice she had almost leaned closer to the major. She became embarrassed and apologized, adding that if he believed someone like her was up to the task, then she would gladly accept the mission. Since it was settled, he handed her a key, informing her that he wanted her to be a source of support from Aruto. When she went back to Arudo for training, Arudo suggested trying to use 2 spells at the same time. Lily obeyed and activated the speed and boost power. It works. Her strength and speed have increased, but she was tired afterward. Her maximum mana pool is increasing steadily, but her magic's max level hasn't changed. If it won't increase with this training, perhaps Arudo should try that thing he read about yesterday. To try a different kind of training, he showed her a book. According to this book, it's by killing monsters that one can break through their limits. He asks if there is a place nearby where they can hunt monsters. There are monsters in the forest managed by the army, but they will need Major Rudolph's permission to go. After asking for permission, they went outside. Lily was amazed that they really trusted Arudo because normally no one gets told something like that. Earlier, when they asked for permission, Rudolph granted their access to the army's forest and added that if he needed a porter, However, he was free to hire an adventurer. Also, if anyone catches Arudo's eye, he has Rudolph's permission to recruit them. They arrived at the nearest guild, where some people were having a conversation, while others were disappointed because the quest was more about gathering plants. The girl named Fiorin, who seemed bored, looked at the ground floor and saw the two. She realized Arudo was a soldier and went down. While Lily was talking to the receptionist looking for a porter, Arudo observed the surroundings. There was this man who told his companion that they had just gotten back from a rank A quest, while on the other side were these men with patched clothes, who were disappointed for not finding a good quest. Arudo noticed that they were divided into upper and lower classes based on their skills and achievements, and were ranked accordingly. In a guild, this merit-based system is on full display. Suddenly, Fiorin poked his foot and gestured for him to be quiet. She grabbed something from her pocket and showed it to him, stating she was looking for work and was willing to do anything. Didn't she look suspicious? He was about to appraise her when a receptionist named Rube appeared, reminding her that this was already the 8th time. Rube already told Fiorin that soliciting clients directly is forbidden. Fiorin was about to argue, but Rube didn't want to listen anymore and dragged her out. While the upper rank laughed, saying they didn't want to end up like that, the lower rank adventurer seems hopeless, thinking they will become like her someday. Arudo clenched his fist as he recalled the time when a girl was being dragged by soldiers, asking him to save her. He called Rube's attention and told her that he chose Fiorin. Afterwards, they went into a burger shop to eat. Lily was shocked to see Fiorin's result because her potential was also S rank. She asked if he was going to recruit her, and he answered yes. Fiorin was teary-eyed as she ate the delicious hamburger steak, and after finishing it, she revealed that this was the first time in her life she had eaten anything like this. She then thanked them. Lily went straight to the point, asking her if she wanted to become Master Arudo's subordinate. She was confused and couldn't believe it, so Arudo told her she had a talent for archery and asked if she was aware of that. Fiorin seems puzzled about the talent he mentioned and questioned how he knew about that. After telling her he was an appraiser, Fiorin let him know she never even touched a bow, and she doesn't have a weapon or any money. Arudo was about to ask permission to appraise her for more details, when Lily suddenly stood up and slammed her hands on the table, telling the four-eyed woman that this is a special, limited-time offer. If she becomes Master Arudo's subordinate, her room and board will be provided free of charge. Fiorin's eyes spark after hearing that and ask if it was true. Lily confirms it, adding that the weapon was included because Master Arudo has acknowledged her potential. To be honest, Lily feels a little lonely on her own, so she asks if she could become Arudo's subordinate with her. Fiorin was touched and quickly agreed. They will support Master Arudo together. They went to a weapon shop and bought a staff and a bow. Before heading to the forest, Arudo suggested training first. When they arrived at the military base gate, Kijin pointed them to Major Rubel. Rubel smirked, asking which one of them was Major Rudolph's favorite. While Kijin mocked Lily for becoming an officer cadet just like that, the other private mentioned Fiorin as an F-rank adventurer who had failed to become a cadet. Rubel gave them a sunny side egg in the head, calling them idiots for putting others down just to make themselves look stronger. It was the act of the week, so they must know some shame. He looks at Rudolph's favorite, who apologizes for the late introduction. Rubel heard that Rudolph was taking a liking to him and wondered if this was all he amounted to. He shouted that the military is no playground for the weak because it is the domain of the strong. It is not a place for those who need protecting to stand. Does he mean the strong fight, the weak stay away from danger? Since Rubel seems to be the type who can't be reasoned with, Arudo requests permission to ask a question. Is Rubel saying the military has no need for those who raise the strong of the future? Rubel disagrees, clarifying that educators are necessary. Arudo inquires if an educator needs to be strong. Rubel asks if it wasn't obvious because disciples surpassing their masters is hardly rare. Is Arudo trying to say that he is a first-rate educator? Arudo denied it, but did believe he had an eye for people's potential. More than these three gatekeepers, Arudo was certain that Fiorin and Lily had more potential than they did. Rubel observed how he argued and mentioned that in a month, the academy entrance exam includes a duel. He will let Arudo's subordinate fight the three gatekeepers. Arudo confidently declared that if it's against those three, passing was a sure thing. Rubel laughed and told him to strive with all he might. He then turned to the two guards, inviting them to join him for a drink. Kijin stared at Arudo's team before joining Rubel. The two apologized for being useless in that kind of situation, but Arudo clarified that Rubel's pressure was on a whole different level and that there was nothing they could do. He notices Lily's status and sees that her level has increased. Inside the apartment, Fiorin was amazed and asked if she could really stay here. She thanked the two and said goodbye to the camping out life. She hugged them and wiped her tears afterward. Arudo tells Lily to show him the room again, but before that, Lily wants to inform him about something more important. They set their weapon aside and then sat. The thing that Lily wanted to tell him was about his appraisal magic. Just as Arudo worked as an appraiser in her previous life, this city also has many appraisers. However, none of them can appraise people. Seeing his expression, Lily already expected he wasn't aware of it. Normal appraisers can only appraise appraise objects. Living beings are impossible. Their result are only the name and price, plus rank from S to F for an item's value. His appraisal ability itself is military secret level. Arudo was shocked to learn about this and informed them that when he was appraising before, and Marisa had told him that any appraiser could do what he was doing. Even a normal person can do it, so to be proud of something like this was embarrassing. Lily inquired about the result he got back then. Since it was already 10 years ago, Arudo has already forgotten it, but if it had been a good one, he was sure he would remember it. Lily concluded that they may have even suppressed his ability so his own results wouldn't be exposed. Fiorin put down the tea, finally understanding everything. Her aptitude was the bow, and this is also the first time she has heard of someone being able to appraise people. Lily apologized for steering the talk away from her ability earlier, but Fiorin told her not to worry. The truth is, she didn't notice a thing. Arudo inquired if being able to appraise human aptitude and abilities was unusual. Rather than unusual, Lily explained that it was a unique ability belonging only to him. She asks if he intends to announce his ability to the public. If he were to announce it, he could rise to the rank of major or even higher. Fiorin was shocked, asking if she meant like the huge guy from earlier, Rubel. Arudo answered that he won't announce it. He thanks her for telling him about it, but he wants to keep it a secret. While Lily was glad with his answer, Fiorin asked why, because he could rise right away. Lily thinks it was because going public carries risks. Not everyone gets good results, and he could make many enemies. She asked if she wasn't right. Arudo flinched before scratching his face and agreed with her. The truth was that if he announced it to the people, a life of constant appraisals would arise. He never wants to live like he did before again, endless appraising. They planned to start the training and look for an archery book, but before they could leave, a girl named Lara delivered a message. Before departing for the military forest, Major Rudolph has something to say. In 2 hours, Officer Cadet Arudo must come alone to Major Rudolph's room. While Fiorin thinks it was about her, Lily assumes it was about what happened at the gate. The three then went outside to start the training. Fiorin was having a hard time stretching the bow and dropped her knees to the ground, mumbling that it was impossible. Arudo sees some content in a book, thinking that it was the reason Lily leveled up. It was triggered by that exchange with Rubel. Fiorin approached him, apologizing for not being able to handle a bow. Arudo told her it was okay. After all, everyone fails at the beginning. Motivated, Big Sis tries harder. Arudo realized that Fiorin's strength stat was at the lowest rank, so he stood up and asked Lily to cast a power-up on her. Lily did as he said and activated the power-up towards Fiorin. With Arudo's command, Fiorin tries to draw the bow again, and she pulls it easily. Arudo informed her that Lily was a support magic user. Big Sis was amazed, thinking she was invincible now that she was with Lily. Lily denied doing anything and claimed it was all thanks to Arudo. Arudo started to walk away, informing the two that he would go see Major Rudolph. If Fiorin has trouble with the bow again, Lily must cast the spell on her. Inside Rudolph's room, the Major apologized for the sudden summons. Since Arudo will be going to the forest, Rudolph would like him to pick up these herbs. Arudo asks about the herb, but since he has appraising ability, Rudolph suggested appraising it. Arudo obeyed and learned that it was a water magic herb, rank C with a price of 280 N. This was Rudolph's first time seeing one, and he revealed that before Arudo arrived there was a huge forest fire. The cause was unknown. Fortunately, there were no casualties, but it was barely contained. The army's stock was depleted. They have sent a request to all guilds, but the supply hasn't caught up. If Arudo comes across any, Rudolph would like him to collect them. By the way, this isn't an assignment. Rudolph will buy them from Arudo. Arudo was surprised and then thanked the Major. Rudolph even gives him performance rewards and wishes that Anne-Marisa would learn from him. Since Arudo was more knowledgeable about condition-based pricing, the Major will leave that to him. He turned around and informed him that that was all. Realizing the Major didn't mention the gate incident, Arudo voiced out his encounter with Major Rubel. Rudolph hasn't seen Rubel in several days and promised to handle the matter. He handed him an appointment order and informed him that he had officially appointed Fiorin as Arudo's subordinate. Observing that the appointment order had been completely approved by the military executives, Arudo thinks there is no way such a complicated document could have been prepared in just 2 hours, which means they know that Arudo would bring Fiorin before they return to the army. Rudolph tells him he will be attending the trial match with the corporals, and he is looking forward to it. Arudo was surprised because Rudolph hadn't even met Rubel, yet he already knew about the gatekeeper mock battle. He asked if the Major wasn't working too fast. Rudolph thinks Rubel might snatch Arudo's away, so this much is only natural. Arudo must also consider it as a test of insight. After that, Arudo left the room and wondered if there were factions trying to prevent him from being taken. Even if promoted, this all seems like a hassle. Maybe it was smart not to announce anything, and since he was originally from an enemy nation, it is no surprise that he is being watched. Unlike Anne-Marisa, these people keeping tabs on Arudo are dangerous in a whole other way. Suddenly, an arrow shot at the target. Arudo smiled to see Fiorin so happy after hitting a bullseye. He claims that being watched is nothing new and then shouts at the surveillance to bring it on. The next day at the military forest, Arudo informed the two that the exploration time would be 40 minutes until Lily's magic wore off. If 3 or more enemies close in, or if he judges it to be dangerous, they will retreat immediately. Arudo scans the surroundings within a 100-meter radius, and, after finding that there are no strong monsters nearby, he informs the two that he was just doing a little scouting. He pointed out the location of the closest monsters. There are water magic herbs over there, but 2 monsters are nearby. They will first take down the closest monster and then grab the herbs. If there's time, they will beat the other 2 before heading back. Fiorin inquires if he really can tell where monsters are, and he affirms it. He just used the appraisal the same way he did when searching for the bow book. So book and monster are the same to him, huh? When they tried to find the book for bow, Fiorin was shocked that Arudo could find them fast. She now understands how his ability was a military secret level and questions if it isn't weird to appraise monsters he doesn't even know are. Lily tapped her shoulder, informing her that it was unfortunate because Arudo didn't follow their common sense. They will have to get used to it. As he commanded Lily to cast power up to Fiorin using her staff, a bird was watching them. Lily cast the power up using the staff, and when Arudo checked their stats, he was surprised to see that Lily's strength had also gone up. Fiorin asks if Lily accidentally cast on 2 people, but Arudo clarifies that her mana consumption was only for 1 cast, which means through staff, it applies to all of her allies. Arudo can't confirm by appraisal and assumes he was also boosted. There might be hints in the staff technique book, so he suggested checking it when they return. They continued walking until Arudo signaled them to halt. He unintentionally touches Lily's stop as he thinks that there is a monster nearby. Lily was surprised because she heard it. Arudo shushes them, and they hide in the bushes. Finally, they found the monster. It was a slime rank F. Arudo suggested talking in a whisper tone, but Lily instead asked them to touch the staff's crystal. When the two did as she said, Lily closed her eyes and asked if they could hear her. While Fiorin answered in the affirmative, Arudo inquired when she had this kind of ability. Earlier, when Arudo touched the staff, it felt like Lily could hear his inner voice. Fiorin thinks this could be useful during infiltration or negotiations. Back to the main goal, Arudo asks if Lily can defeat the slime. It is scary, but Lily promises to do her best. While Fiorin will support Lily, Arudo will keep watch around them. This is Lily's first battle. She stood up and dashed straight to the slime. She raised her staff and swung it down, but the slime managed to dodge. This is bad. At this distance, it is barely enough. Arudo jumped and was about to strike the slime using a dagger, but an arrow suddenly pierced its body. Fiorin successfully hit it in a single shot. Lily froze, but snapped back to reality when Arudo signaled her to finish it. She hit it hard and panted after. Arudo told her to relax and then informed Fiorin that her shot was right on target. She really saved them. Lily shrieked upon seeing Fiorin doing something to the slime and asked about it. Fiorin explained she was dismantling the slime and was glad she was safe. If they did this first, the slime's freshness wouldn't drop as fast. Lily already expected it from a former adventurer. Well, if you work as a porter, this is a must-have skill. When Arudo noticed her knife was well maintained, Fiorin revealed that this knife was her father's keepsake. If possible, Fiorin wants to chill the slime, but it can't be helped because there is no river nearby. About that, Arudo told them there is one close by. The two were shocked to hear that, and when they went to the river, they asked if this was really his first time in the forest. Arudo suddenly found the water spirit grass, shocking the two of them. Is it normal to find magic herbs this quickly? Of course not. Fiorin informs him that one doesn't find a river location that easily. The biggest challenge on the expedition is securing a water source. Having the ability to do that is practically military level classified. Arudo apologized. He wasn't normal. As the two sigh and ask how exactly he found the river, Arudo felt awkward to just say it was because of his appraisal, so he told them it was intuition. He has enough experience that he can just tell. He suddenly notices someone's presence and instructs the two to get ready for battle. 2 rank E task dogs appear, drooling at their sight. As the dog rushed at them, Fiorin shot an arrow towards the other one and successfully hit it in the head. Meanwhile, Lily activated the speed up and launched toward the other one. He swung her staff with all her might and hit its head. The dog was still alive and pounced at her, but Lily smashed its head, defeating it. Arudo received a notification that the 2 dogs had already been taken down. He noticed that Fiorin and Lily's movements were better than when fighting the slime. As expected of an S rank, Fiorin's arrow killed the monster in a single hit. Now, they just need to harvest the magic herb. Lily commanded Fiorin to finish the other dog, but as she was about to fire her arrow, Arudo told her there was no need to attack anymore because it was already taken down. He then informed them that they both level up. Fiorin's concentration and Lily's attack power were far beyond what was expected. They both made a great frontline combo. The two clarify that it was the 3 of them. Meanwhile, Rubel gave Rudolph a souvenir. While Rudolph noticed he was in a good mood, Rubel told him that it had been a long time and said that Major Bellart sent quite an interesting kid. It's been a while since his blood boiled like this. Rudolph agreed and put a note in the table, informing Rubel that these are the results from the military forest. The slime jelly's quality and preservation conservation are rated S. The task dog's pelts are B and SS. In addition, Arudo pinpointed the distribution sites of water spirit grass. They are all highly rated, but it seems that SS has reached the highest evaluation ever. Rubel tosses the note and then gulps the alcohol, mumbling how terrifying the little brat is. There is no doubt they will continue to grow stronger from here, but if that becomes known among the trainees and cadets, many will aspire to become subordinates of Arudo. As a result, it might lead to raising the overall level of the trainees. What remains is interpersonal combat. Regarding that, Rudolph has already assigned the next mission. After all, even within the army there are many who cannot kill. Originally, that shouldn't even have to be necessary, but as long as one is in the military, it is a wall one must overcome. Rubel can't imagine Arudo backing down after all. Morning came, and when Arudo woke up, he quickly panicked, concerned about the work. Again, he really needs to break this habit. More importantly, he needs to focus on today's mission, eliminating a dangerous criminal. Lately, there have been murders targeting children, so Rudolph wants him to eliminate the culprit. He may decide whether or not to involve his subordinates. Since it's his first time with a human target mission, Rudolph will send reinforcement tomorrow morning. Arudo thinks that a criminal targeting children and killing them was no less evil to Anne-Marisa. Absolutely unforgivable. He suddenly heard a shout from a girl, asking if that man still hadn't woken up. Her brother told her to be quiet, thinking Arudo might still be asleep. Arudo stood up, irritated by the noise at this early morning, and deduced that reinforcement must have experience with a mission like this. He opened the door as he wondered what kind of person it was, but was surprised to see that it was Marlia, who quickly shouted at him that he was late. Making a lady wait was disgraceful. She asked if he had brought the mission papers. Milo, her brother, scolded her for being disrespectful to her superior, but Marlia told him that if it were a sparring partner, casual talk is the norm. Arudo recognized that Marlia was the trainee candidate who objected to picking Lily, and then told Milo that it was fine. They went to the kitchen and were shocked to see Fiorin was tied up. Marlia clarified she wasn't at fault because Fiorin was the one who suddenly hugged her the moment they met. She thinks she is a pervert, so she tied her up. Arudo recalled how emotion often comes out as a skip with Fiorin, and then apologizes. He asked Marlia to untie her, and she agreed, commanding Milo to help her. After they untied Fiorin, they all sat down to talk about the mission. Arudo learned that these two were siblings and incorrectly called Marlia Lumaria. Marlia corrected it and told him to at least remember his sparring partner's name. He apologized and asked about Milo's name. When Milo introduces himself, Arudo questions if the two of them came regarding the mission. Actually, it wasn't both of them. Marlia was specifically summoned, and Milo just came along. Marlia stood up, telling Arudo he could tag along in the mission, but she would do everything herself. She will show him her real power and will make him regret not choosing her back then. Arudo wondered if the reason she underestimated him was that he picked Lily instead. Fiorin asks if it's about making Lily Arudo's subordinate, and when Marlia confirms it, Fiorin wonders why Marlia is taking it on her. Marlia got angry and was about to tie her up again, but Milo stopped her, telling her not to treat the people they would be working with like that. Marlia finally calmed down, and as they sat, Milo told Arudo to take care of his sister. After Arudo introduces his two subordinates, Lily inquires about the exact mission for today. Fiorin was shocked after learning that it was to eliminate a murderer, but when Arudo told them he couldn't forget someone like that, she stood up and told him not to worry. She will take down the murderer in a single shot. Marlia shouted no and revealed that if their target senses an adult nearby, he will abandon the crime and flee. That is why the most suitable candidates for this mission are Marlia and Lily. They will play the role of captives and lure the target in. Arudo thinks it wasn't a bad plan, but it was dangerous. He asks Lily, and she responds that she will do it. Lily was amazed that Arudo was entrusted with such an important mission and promised to do her best. Marlia agreed in her mind. Even though Arudo wasn't a trainee, he suddenly came into the army and became an officer candidate. On the fourth day, he already has this kind of mission. She wondered what kind of man Arudo really is. Arudo leaves Milo to Fiorin's care and asks if Milo is okay with that. Suddenly, Milo felt pain, making his sister worried and asked about his medicine. While Milo told her it was in his pocket, Arudo instructed the two to prepare the water and bed. As Milo lay down, Marlia prayed to God to save her brother. Arudo thinks of using his appraisal, but recalling how it was a military secret and the risk if more people know about his ability, he thinks twice. Still, the goodness of his heart prevailed, and he apologized to his two subordinates. He instructed Marlia to step aside because he was going to use his appraisal. With this, he might be able to save Milo. Milo's mana level is in the negatives, so Arudo concludes that it was probably the cause of his poor condition. If they give him mana and turn it into a positive, Milo might recover. Marlia asked if he was sure, and he confirmed it. At least for now, Milo's condition will improve. He thought about it and realized she really cared about her little brother. Well, Milo was her only brother, of course. She cared. Arudo commanded Lily to perform mana support because if Milo's mana recovers, his symptoms should get better. Lily understood and will give it a try. She walked towards Milo, but Marlia stood before her, bowed her head, and asked Lily to take care of her brother. Lily fixed her sleeves and told Marlia to leave it to her. Arudo and Marlia went out of the room. He suggested talking about the mission and sharing it later with Lily. He asks if she heard the mission details. Marlia confirmed it and declared that she will put an end to it. She told him not to worry because she wouldn't go into detail. She revealed that she stabbed the man who used to be her father in self-defense before. Arudo froze, recalling his conversation with Rudolph last night. After Rudolph told him he would send Arudo reinforcement, Arudo inquired if eliminating meant to test if he could take someone's life. Rudolph already expected that answer from him. He was right on the mark. Arudo asks if he can do it alone. Rudolph told him it was fine, but their country is meritocratic. Even the choice of whether to accept a mission or not is considered part of one's ability. Even as a soldier, if one has the strength, they are often allowed to prioritize their own judgment. If Arudo follows orders, then Rudolph, the one in charge, will take responsibility for the result. But if Arudo goes against orders, the responsibility falls on Arudo. In short, those who act on their own judgment must accept responsibility in exchange for freedom. With that, Arudo grasps that Marlia was here to make sure they don't fail. A backup was sent by the Major. Arudo understands her and told her that in case of an emergency, he will rely on her. They started the meeting with Marlia reading the letter that on March 24th, a random assault incident occurred. 3 consecutive days of crime. After the 6th victim was killed, there was a 7-day gap, then 4 consecutive days of killings. Total, 10 victims. With the victims surpassing 10, the lead shifted from the police to the military. Target age range, 10 to 16 years old. The crimes took place in alleys out of public view. The time was around dusk. The weapon was a blade with multiple stab wounds. They say it was a brutal and gruesome way of killing. Arudo realized that today would make it 5 days in a row, but Marlia assured him it won't happen because she will eliminate the criminal today. Arudo clarified that it wasn't just her, but them. Marlia crossed her arms, letting him think of that way. When Marlia suggested confirming today's crime scene, Arudo became confused, wondering if this was a pre-announced murder case. Marlia denied it, informing him that Major Rubel pinpointed it. Arudo questioned how Rubel had done that, but Marlia had no idea either. Arudo thinks that Rubel doesn't look like someone with the ability to pinpoint a crime scene, and realized that people really can't be judged by appearance. Finally, Marlia pointed out the location of today's crime scene. It is near the South Gate. Arudo praised her for narrowing it down this far. Marlia informs him that maybe someone else tracked it down, just like how Arudo has Lily and Fiorin with him. Major Rubel also has subordinates who are very capable. Arudo thinks about it and figures that Major Rudolph probably has capable subordinates as well. At the same time, a girl sneezes. It was Lara, the girl who once delivered a message to Arudo by Rudolph's command. Her hooded companion asked if she was cold, but Lara was fine and told him that their mission was complete. She added that among these bandits, those guys weren't there. Back at Arudo, Milo finally gets better and apologizes for worrying them. Arudo looks at the status window and smiles. The negative value decreased, and Milo's mana capacity recovered. However, the negative hasn't disappeared completely. Milo's mana capacity was 16/20. When Arudo appraised Milo, he definitely felt it. The mana absorption. The cause is probably that thing in his abdomen. If they mess with it carelessly, Milo's symptoms could worsen. They can't let anything happen to him. It won't be too late to gather more info through another method. Still, they can't just sit idle in the meantime either. Milo's stats were Scout rank B, Dagger Arts rank B, Support Techniques rank B, and Appraisal Magic rank C. In that case, Arudo wants Milo to try training to increase his mana. If he increases his mana, even if an episode occurs, the suffering should be reduced. Milo clutched his clothes and agreed. He will endure any training. Arudo handed him a book, telling him to practice it to increase his mana. Since he has other talents, he promised to give him another book next time. After the kid thanks him, Arudo said goodbye to them, leaving the babysitting to Fiorin. They went to the city, which was bustling with people. Some are customers, some are vendors. Arudo was amazed to see this lively city. Marlia questions what is so amazing about it, and he answers that it was so lively. It's a nice town full of energy. Lily wondered if it was livelier than the town where he was born, and he confirmed it. It is nothing like where he used to be. It's only been a few days since he came to this empire, and he already loves this town. Lily looked at him, happy with his comment. Holding a map, Marlia informs him that it would be more lively if it were a holiday. Lily came close to her, asking about the plan. Marlia told her to wait because she would change first. She can't do a lookout in a military uniform. Lily asks about her. Arudo tells her that Marlia will be the only one doing lookout this time. The structure of the back alley makes it difficult for one person to cover, so Marlia will be the lookout while he and Lily will only provide support from the rear. They arrived at a clothing shop, and after a while, Marlia went out wearing a fancy dress. Ugh, she looks gorgeous in this outfit. She inquired if she looked fragile, but Lily told her she was cute and that it suited her well. Marlia suggested discussing the plan when no one is around, but Arudo signals Lily to do her job. job. In Lily's instruction, Marlia touched the cane and was shocked to hear Lily's voice asking if she could hear her. Now that they can communicate without any sounds, they talk about the plan. First, Marlia will go ahead and become the decoy. The two of them will observe from behind. If the murderer appears, Marlia will lure him to a dead end. The three of them will sandwich him and catch him. She inquires if Lily has any questions. When Lily said no, Marlia told them they should start. Arudo ordered Lily to use the speed boost, and when she activated it, Marlia looked in her hands with surprise. She feels like her body has become lighter and is in good shape. She looks at Lily, mentioning this magic and the communication in mind earlier, asking if she was hiding her true abilities until now. Lily clarifies that it wasn't like that. She only received instruction from Master Arudo. She wasn't hiding anything. Marlia understood and thanked her for letting her borrow some of her magic. Teary-eyed, Lily agreed and promised to support her with all her power. With that, they started the operation. As she walked in an alleyway, she asked if she had taken the wrong way and said that she needed to hurry home. She shrieked when a cat suddenly appeared. Inside, she was certain she was acting natural as a fragile girl. While Lily was observing her, Arudo was pondering. He examined the surroundings, but there was still no reaction. From here on out, there will be fewer places to hide, but if he gets too far away, he will be late covering. Since he won't be able to search for enemies, he decided to reverse the flow of magic. In this state, he will appraise himself and Lily. He asks for her staff and touches it. He will make the magic power thin and then cover it. Then, activate the appraisal magic in reverse. He told Lily that he had cast an appraisal magic spell on the two of them and explained that it was a spell that made the target less noticeable to those around them, much like erasing one's presence. It happened by accident, so he doesn't fully understand it himself, but it seems that by reversing the mana flow, the effect of the spell also reverses. Like the stealth of a scout, hiding the parts of oneself that are visible, the opposite of appraisal magic, seeing the parts of others that are hidden. The cat earlier was hissing at Marlia, but now it didn't notice them, even though they were this close. However, the sound can't be hidden. They need to pay attention to the distance between them and the person they want to hide from, because they weren't totally invisible. However, those who are detection-type users or mages will probably notice them right away. The drawback is that it doesn't work on high-level monsters. Lily called out to him, crying as she told him not to add more classified information because the erasing presence she imagined was different. If this were made public, he would be on a straight path to death by overwork as an SSS rank mage. She asked when he exactly used this magic. Arudo learned it when he was sent to scout a dungeon. To make sure monsters didn't attack his companions, he cast it to him and Anne-Marisa, who was confident that the monster would never approach him out of fear. Lily told him it was a waste. Dungeon scouting is fine, but it's useful for monster hunting, VIP rescues, infiltration missions, and even the tailing they were doing now. Arudo signals her to stop after sensing the bloodlust leaking out everywhere. He wondered if it was on purpose. Meanwhile, Marlia also senses it, but after realizing they aren't attacking right away, she shifts her gaze to give them an opening so they can attack more easily. Suddenly, a hand materialized from behind and grabbed her. The man quickly covered her mouth and told her she was cute. He licked the ice cream and then touched the mountain. As he told her he would bring her back home, Marlia felt gross and realized he was full of openings. Now that she knew his strength, she elbowed him and planned to lure him. When she reached the dead end, the man told her she was unfortunate. Now that the game of tag was over, the man showed her a knife and asked about their next play. Marlia warns him not to get closer, but the man likes her expression. To improve her expression, he will cut her into pieces. Marlia asked for help, but the man loved that kind of terrified expression and told her that he would start with her smooth right leg. When Marlia didn't make a sound, he assumed she was too scared and promised to be gentle. To his surprise, Marlia pierces the dagger in his left hand in an instant, warning him not to touch her with his filthy hands. A scream can be heard as blood drips from his hand. He stated that he would kill her and yell at her, asking who she was, but froze when Marlia suddenly grabbed his hair and kicked his ugly face. The man dropped to the ground and looked at her. I could see the dark cave cover in this panel. Ahem. Marlia stared down at him and stated she didn't owe him any answer. After tying up the man, she wondered what the two were doing, as she hadn't seen or sensed them. She shivered when she felt a hand, but Arudo informed her it was him. He apologized for forgetting to release the spell. That startled the heck out of her. She thought he was an accomplice of this man. Lily eased the tension by explaining that Arudo always does things unconsciously, but never means any harm. While Arudo was starting to restore the mana flow to normal, Marlia unconsciously voiced out her thought, saying she didn't even notice until he touched her shoulder, adding that Arudo really does have the strength to become an officer candidate. She flinched when Lily inquired if she had said something, and she responded that it was nothing. Arudo looked at them, amazed that Marlia caught the murderer alone. He was glad both of them were safe and asked what they would do next. Well, Well, if they just wait, they will be fine. Once the time comes, the unit will come as backup and will provide reinforcement in case something happens. So it's like insurance for the insurance, huh? In that case, until the unit arrives, Arudo will appraise this person. His name is Hydro. He is 38 years old, and he has a special trait for a little girl. He was a member of a dark organization known as the Serpent Descendants. Marlia informs Lily that the murderer has a weapon and asks her to help her search. She approached Arudo and inquired if he had seen a knife drop around here, but Arudo stood frozen as he looked at the status window, learning that Hydro had only 6 kills. Since the total count of killings was 10, he realized Hydro had an acquaintance. He cursed, admitting he had let his guard down, and appraised the surroundings. A hooded man landed from behind and stared at them before rushing in with a knife. Arudo alerted Marlia, but before she could turn, Arudo pushed her to the side and blocked the dagger with his bare hand. Still, he also managed to injure the hooded man in his chest. He is slowly losing sensation in his hand and realizes there is no way he can win a head-on confrontation. He will just have to risk it all. The guy was shocked when Arudo addressed him in his name, Garoda, and told him that he wouldn't let him escape for always targeting the children. When Garoda jumped back, Arudo removed the dagger in his hand and advised his comrade to be careful because this guy wasn't working alone. Garoda claims his mistake because he thought the black-haired woman was the main one. Arudo told him he wasn't wrong because she is stronger than he is. He appraised Garoda and realized he wasn't just an accomplice of the murder, but actually a professional assassin. He scanned the area, but there were no other responses. There might be an ability user who can avoid appraisal hiding around. Also, if Garoda had been hiding all this time while Marlia was captured, Arudo didn't think the murderer was the one who hired Garoda. It seems that Garoda was hired by the dark organization mentioned in Hydro's appraisal. If he recalls it correctly, it was the Descendants of the Serpent. Garoda inquired how he knew his name, but Arudo just responded that he guessed assassins don't like being called by name. He then questioned about the assassin's employer, but Garoda asked him back, inquiring what he was talking about. Arudo activated his appraisal by pouring mana finely and infusing it into Garoda's cells. With that, he discovered the person behind the scenes. Garoda made it clear that he wouldn't reveal his employer, but Arudo already knew that the guard, Kijin, was the one who had hired him. The two girls were shocked, even more so the assassin, who asked about Arudo's real identity. When Arudo responded that he was just a soldier, Garoda threw his dagger at him, but Arudo deflected it using his weapon. The assassin rushes towards the girls, but steps to the side to flee. He then gathers force in his foot before jumping like a ninja. When he reached the top, he looked down and was about to finish Hydro, but Arudo already knew his plan and was about to attack him from behind. The assassin turned around to pierce his dagger at Arudo's shoulder, but our guy also struck the assassin with his weapon. The two of them lost balance and dropped to the ground. Hydro kicks the assassin, asking how dare he try to kill him. The status window appears, displaying Garado's health status, 22 out of 428. Now that the assassin has finally stopped moving, Arudo scans the surroundings. There are no suspicious individuals within range, but if they stay, the support unit will arrive. If that gatekeeper is the employer, then the unit coming might not be allies. He needs to get Lily and Marlia to safety while he can, but he's unable to move. Lily rushed at him, shouting to get hold of himself. The bleeding wasn't stopping, so she asked what they should do. Marlia advised her to calm down, as there was nothing they could do. Lily planned on calling the medics, but Marlia told her to stay and that she would do it instead. The status window appears, informing Arudo that someone is coming. However, he can't read the appraisal because his vision is blurry. As the two girls converse about using the speed magic to summon the medics faster, a man jumps down towards them. The two stood frozen in shock as Arudo told them to run. The two prepare for battle, but the man raises his hands, telling them it was him. They were shocked to see it was Major Rubel and inquired why he was here. Rubel informed them that he felt Arudo's mana and a disturbance, so he came to check. However, it appears they were doing well. He noticed Arudo had 2 injuries and told them it was just minor wounds, shocking the two girls. Arudo suspiciously thinks Rubel might be an enemy, but right now, they have no choice but to trust him. He apologized for the trouble and asked to carry his 2 subordinates to the academy. After the old man agreed, Arudo's vision slowly turned dark as he thanked the major. When he woke up, the 3 were glad he was awake and informed him that he was in the infirmary inside the military base. He tried to get up, but seeing him moaning in pain, Lily suggested staying still because his wound might reopen. Still, she was glad he was safe. Marlia arrived with flowers, informing him he had been asleep for 3 whole days. She was worried about what they would do if he didn't wake up. Lily was so worried that she wouldn't stop fussing. Arudo noticed her leg, so Marlia told him it was just a sprain. Could it be because Arudo shoved her that time? Marlia denied it. It was her own carelessness to begin with. If he hadn't shielded her, she would have been killed. She became embarrassed when Arudo just looked at her and then turned around, thanking him for saving her. Milo will compile a report about this incident, so when Arudo is settled, he wants him to share his side of the story. Since the cadet officer wasn't feeling bad, he suggested talking now. A week later, the 3 were summoned by Rudolph. As they walk the hallway to find the room, Arudo warns Fiorin not to just wander wander into the room, because if she stumbles across classified information, it will be trouble. Lily and Fiorin told him to be aware that he is the classified information, but Arudo shrugged it off, stating he was just normal. Well, definitely not. The three finally arrived at the exact room and went inside. Rudolph welcomed them to their new workplace. It's their reward for completing the mission. From now on, they will be handling classified mission information. As a result of Arudo's successful mission, he was promoted to second lieutenant. In terms of rank among neighboring countries, that's equal to a baron. The formal promotion will be after the entrance exams, but Arudo can consider his acceptance guaranteed. The two were amazed and congratulated their leader, but he didn't look happy. Rudolph inquires if he dislikes nobility. Well, Arudo's current position was more than enough, so being promoted to an equal of nobility was just a dream for him. This is Rudolph's oversight as well. In fact, this should have happened earlier. For example, what if there had been more capable comrades during this mission? Arudo wouldn't have gotten injured, and the culprit could have been suppressed more safely. With a higher rank comes heavier responsibility, but the walls of rank will no longer hinder him. Additionally, it appears Arudo excelled at identifying unique subordinates, so Rudolph hopes he will soon have many reliable subordinates. Arudo clarified he wasn't the kind of person who should stand above others, but promised to do his very best as much as he can. When asked for the report, Arudo told him it was difficult to convey, but they had obtained information indicating that a traitor was within the military. Rudolph also had a hint about that. To tell the truth, the report he received from Second Lieutenant Arudo and the one from the escort unit did not match. Arudo restrained two murderers and inflicted a serious abdominal wound on one of them. However, according to the escort unit's report, both were dead, killed with a single stab to the heart. Lily tried to argue that it wasn't them, but Rudolph already knew it. He heard from Major Rubel that it wasn't them. To begin with, he had suspected internal trouble for some time. This mission already seemed suspicious because of the higher-ups' movements. He showed them the report he received directly from Arudo, and the other was delivered by the escort unit. At present, they don't know if it was a false report or a substitution. Arudo appraised the report and learned that it was forged by Itar Mataroy, shocking Rudolph. He informed them that Itar Mataroy was the clerk dispatched by the upper ranks. Arudo pondered why Itar Mataroy would do such a thing, so Lily explained that he rewrote the report to mislead the major with false information. Fiorin agreed, claiming that no one normally compares mission reports side by side. Still, Arudo elaborates that once it was examined, it would be exposed immediately. He doesn't think Itar Mataroy would deliberately leave behind evidence. Ugh, this guy is hopeless. Didn't he really know that his appraiser wasn't normal? Anyway, Rudolph just agreed with him, stating that he had received the report, but he didn't think it went this far. Arudo should learn more about appraisers. Once things settle, he will attend training with them. An ordinary appraiser cannot identify the person who falsified a document. Anyway, Rudolph decided to assign Cadet Marlia and her younger brother Milo under Arudo's command. Arudo was shocked, thinking Rudolph had persuaded Marlia. Rudolph informed him that it was their request. In Arudo's tiny mind, he thinks Marlia would probably say she would rather die than serve him. Before leaving, the major added that, considering the situation, and with the entrance exam close, the mock battle will be cancelled. He then asks if he has any other information. Well, he has. When Arudo appraised the murderers, a peculiar organization's name came up, Descendants of the Serpent. It seems that the group may be involved, and the assassin's employer was Corporal Kijin, the gatekeeper. Rudolph's eyes widened after hearing that and finally understood everything. He told Arudo that they may be planning to erase him under the guise of an accident. Arudo questions what he meant, but the major just answers that the mission given to him and Rubel overlaps until the final day of the entrance exam. Another will take over as the exam supervisor. While Lily voiced out that it was extremely suspicious, Arudo thinks that to eliminate them while the major is absent and prevent information leaks, it was really suspicious. Now that they were in the middle of a suspicious mission, Arudo asked if it was still safe here. Rudolph's body slowly vanished as he responded that it was fine. He repeated the names and organizations of all those involved that they had discovered and told them that he now had a pretext to strike. He owes this to Arudo and suggested resting for today. The following day, the four put their hands together in a circle around Lily's staff, cheering for the next entrance exam and promising to give their all together. Lily asks about the result. Arudo notices that Fiorin gains +5 strength, while Lily's agility and strength increase by +5. Arudo receives a support magic, but Marlia's stats remain unchanged. Arudo informed her that practicing casting different support spells simultaneously was a success. Embarrassed, Marlia asks if they really need to form a circle for that. Well, touching the staff while casting reduces Lily's fatigue. Additionally, it prevents others from noticing the magical support. He then announces the training. Fiorin will do the target practice while Marlia and Lily will spar. Milo will come to him for meditation. Suddenly, he felt Kijin's presence and informed his comrades that Kijin had arrived, but he didn't seem to intend to conceal himself. Lily wondered why. Marlia called her a fool and told the obvious. Kijin was looking down on them. Arudo concluded that Kijin came to silence them. Arudo looks at Kijin Corral's status and learn he was a member of the Descendants of the Serpent. He is also a spy arrive from the kingdom of Drummed. Arudo was glad he spread the appraisal around. From afar, a man with a bow fires his arrow towards them. Fiorin senses it, and when it reaches Arudo's appraisal, an arrow notification appears. Fiorin quickly jumps towards her comrade to save them. The arrow, with a message attached to it, hit the tree. Arudo picks it up and reads the message. The letter came from Major Rubel, who informed them that it appears there is indeed a rat in the military's upper ranks. On the day of the entrance exam, he will go outside the grounds with Rudolph and crush the rat. Therefore, he cannot come to Arudo. He apologized. Arudo looked in the sky, realizing they were just the decoys while the majors would be absent. Until the exam day, all they can do is keep training without letting their guard down. 1 week later, on the day of the exam, the moment the second lieutenant asked about Marlia, the girl came rushing, shouting at them to wait up. In cases like this, it's essential to double-check everything. As he checked her bag, Arudo turned to Milo. Since he can see the flow of mana now, he must not hesitate to say it if he notices anything. The two were amazed because people who can see mana flow were so rare. Milo waved his hand, stating he couldn't really notice any abnormalities because it was still pretty blurry. When the second lieutenant appraised the surroundings, Milo was taken aback to see the overflowing mana from him. It was so amazing. It's not just seeing, he can really see it. He dropped his ass to the ground and silently observed their leader. Since Milo ended up seeing classified military secrets as well, the two felt sorry for him and advised him that they should support Arudo together. At the entrance exam, at the first venue, Arudo was shocked to see a large number of participants present. There are also dwarves and elves who are said to rarely leave their homeland. Well, you can't blame them because the benefits and pay were the best in the Empire. Arudo looks above and sees the queen, who expects to see the full extent of the participants' abilities. She is the 24th queen of the Grouse Empire, Spulria Testerota. What a name. It is hard to pronounce. Let's just call her Rhea. An old man called the examinee number 1, Arudo, and added that anyone wishing to take the test alongside him could step forward. The old man led them to a weapons room, where they could choose their weapons. Fiorin exclaims after observing that there is no bow, so the old man explains that ranged weapons will be tested tomorrow at a separate venue. Lily approached the old man, asking if she could use her own weapon. After analyzing it, the old man granted her permission. Arudo realizes there is no mention of the serpent's descendants in this judge's record and concludes it wasn't a setup. He then handed his weapon to Milo and Fiorin. After the announcer told the participant not to focus solely on winning, but to showcase their uniqueness, the two leaders faced each other. Kijin smirked as he told Arudo that he would at least commend him for not running away. The second lieutenant promised to give everything he had, as if borrowing the strength of his seniors. Kijin clicks his tongue as he looks at Arudo's team, calling them a filthy commoner. As their hands placed on Lily's staff, the second lieutenant warned them that their opponents were hiding weapons laced with paralytic poison on their backs. Seeing how they form a circle, Kijin comrades wondered if they were best friends. Kijin mocked them, stating that the two of his comrades were more than enough to defeat them. The moment the old man announces the start of the battle, they rush towards their opponent to end the battle quickly. While Marlia rushed with a rope, the man thought she was just charging straight in. He slashed his sword, but Marlia ducked to dodge it, and as she tied her feet, Arudo jumped high and landed behind Messy Hair. The black hair was distracted by their fast movement and didn't notice that Marlia had already set the rope around his arms and legs. Before she pulls it to make it tighter, she advises him not to take his eyes off his opponent during the mid-fight. With that, a boiled egg from his head was ready to eat. Meanwhile, Lily was having a clash with Messy Hair, who was baffled, asking why a mage was fighting in close range. He also noticed her speed and power, and wondered if she was really a cadet trainee. Lily swung her wand, but the guy blocked it. Marlia thanks the leader for distracting their opponent, as Lily seemed fine too. Irritated, Kijin clicked his tongue, calling his teammates useless trash before throwing his knife. When Arudo swiftly dodges it, Messy Hair gets hit from the back. Kijin was shocked, asking Arudo why he dodged. The second lieutenant remained silent, observing how Kijin's killing intent was leaking everywhere. He looked above and noticed the judge was not intervening. Is he asleep? Now that it was 3 versus 1, the spectators thought it was a total victory. Arudo asked Kijin if he was still going to continue and advised him to stop his future resistance and surrender. His so-called main operation is already being crushed by the majors, and the people who gave him orders are probably being arrested as they speak. Kijin laughed, asking what he was talking about, and stated he would show Arudo what they meant by main operation. Arudo noticed from that status that Kijin still has the knife coated with paralytic poison, and wondered what the knife he threw earlier was. The sky suddenly turns dark, while a whirlwind forms from the knife stuck in Messy Hair's back. His appearance slowly started to dry as if something was sucking his blood. Before Arudo's team leaves the stage, Kijin laughs maniacally as he reveals that the 13th sacrifice was unexpected. Still, sacrifice is sacrifice, and this time, it was some decent mana. He called to his sacred ancestor to devour this nation of mere commoners. A loud boom suddenly occurred, revealing a gigantic serpent that hissed at them. As it roared, people were confused about what was going on. Fiorin Fiorin and Milo rush at their companion, asking if they were all right. Arudo rises from the rubble, telling them he was fine. While Milo informs him about his weapon, Arudo tries to appraise the serpent, but no matter how many times he attempts it, the appraisal won't work against it. The serpent wrapped its tongue around the messy hair before eating him. Kijin smirked at the scene, ordering the serpent to eat more. Sometime earlier, a messenger arrived from the kingdom, delivering a message to Kijin that an appraiser had fled the kingdom, and that he must be captured alive. But Kijin doesn't care about that anymore, because once they wipe out this country, it won't matter. He knew the traitor Arudo was a fine food for the serpent, but before that, he wanted the serpent to devour one of his useless comrades first, the black hair guy. The guy was shocked to see Kijin betraying him. Aren't they supposed to build a new nation together? Kijin agreed that it was always the plan, but did he really think he could bargain with Kijin as equals? The guy showed him their magical contract, so Kijin told him it was just a scrap of paper. Now, he will be eaten together with it. The serpent swung him around using its tongue before devouring him. Kijin was thrilled, ordering the serpent to devour more and wipe them out. The serpent looked at him before wrapping its tail around him. Kijin asked what it was doing. He was a noble, and the one who summoned it. However, the serpent didn't listen to him, and swallowed him instead. Seeing this horrific sight, Arudo's team felt terrified, and noticed that the snake was growing bigger and bigger. The other people also couldn't do anything and just ran for their lives. The serpent released a black smoke, and from its body, many creatures flew towards the sky. After a while, the exam venue was surrounded by a huge barrier. The people tried their best to flee, but the barrier wouldn't budge. Meanwhile, at the exam first site, Southgate entrance, Police Unit Captain Laus Leon told Zas they can't handle the barrier because its mana was too strong and too vile. Zas complains that if this keeps up, people inside will die. Leon knew that, so he ordered him to call for a high mage. However, he wasn't sure if they could make it in time and break this barrier. In the end, those trapped inside will have to handle it themselves. Still looking at the status window, Arudo thinks that the mastermind is dead, and all that is left is the monster they cannot appraise or control. Appraisal had never failed him before. The serpent began to lay an egg, causing Marlia to panic and ask what they should do. The second lieutenant apologized before stating that they should take it down, so he asked for their strength and they agreed. They were his underling after all. The old man announces that they will need everyone to work together. This is the perfect chance to separate those who know their limits from those who don't, the ones still running away. As the people questioned what he was talking about, Arudo recognized that the voice was from the examiner. The old man continued, saying that the Empire upholds meritocracy precisely for moments like this. Chapters end at 15. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you loved this manga. Have a good day.